Tashdil everyone, I'm Sakina Butt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly feature in English that tells you about this week's news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama calls for Tibetan unity during annual teaching on Chotrul Molam. I feel very optimistic about the future of humanity, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. CTA President calls for independent investigation into Jokhang fire. Online crowdfunding for the new Tibet Museum launched. On Thursday last week, Buddhist nuns from over 40 nunneries across India, Nepal and Bhutan made history by offering the first ever Tenshuk to Tibetan spiritual leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, with representation from 4 major schools of Tibetan Buddhism and Pön tradition at Zuglakhang in Dharamshala. His Holiness expressed that he is happy about the offering being made together by nuns of all 5 sects of Tibetan Buddhism. His Holiness said that the offering is applaudable. His Holiness admiringly stated that there are now Tibetan Buddhist nuns who had earned Geshe degree, the highest level of scholarship previously regarded only for monks, and further encouraged them to pursue the highest scholarship in Buddhist study. At the teaching on the Jataka tales at the annual Chotrul Molam Prayer Festival, His Holiness spoke about destructive emotions and how to tackle them through love and compassion. His Holiness said that humans swayed by such destructive emotions create problems and resort to unthinkable violence on each other by discriminating on account of the minor differences that afflict us. Speaking about the tensions derived from differences, His Holiness emphasized the unity of the Tibetan people, particularly among the 3 traditional provinces of Tibet, as well as between the various schools of Tibetan Buddhism. Chotrul Molam of the Great Prayer Festival is a 5-day event hosted every year in the first month of the Tibetan lunar calendar. During this festival, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to devotees in Dharamshala, conducts teachings on the Jataka tales, which tells the stories of the previous births of Gautama Buddha in both human and animal form. On Monday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to a large group of foreigners, said,
"The future of the world, humanity, I feel very much optimism, very optimistic. So I make some effort as my own share, one of the 7 billion human beings. As my share, wherever I go, I always draw these deeper or inner value."
He further asserted that the new reality demands us to work together for the benefit of the whole world, not just for one's nation or religious group. Responding to a question on future of mankind, His Holiness explained that basic human nature is scientifically proven to be more compassionate and therefore is the basis of hope for a better, peaceful humanity. He offered that the 21st century can bring positive change if human beings start making effort through actions and not simply prayer. A fire reportedly broke out at Lhasa's Jokhang temple at 6:40 p.m. on February 17th, the second day of the Tibetan New Year. Since then, China has imposed a strict suppression of information relating to the incident. Monks and staff working at the Zuglakhang were also given strict instructions not to speak about the fire to anyone. As per reports published on February 18th, the fire didn't start from the Jokhang chapel, but from the chapel adjacent to it. Now, even after a fortnight since the fire, there is still no official clarification about the cause of the fire and the damage that it has caused. The deafening silence from the Chinese government has left not only Tibetans, but also the international community worried and curious. Some sources have indicated that the blaze have caused extensive damage to the 1,300-year-old temple and many of its precious architectural features, morals and relics. The fire has also caused extensive damage to 4 shrines within the Tsuklakang premises, including the Palden Lamo Yom Trakmo Chapel, Songtsen Chapel, Mani Chapel and the Namse Chapel. It was further reported that the fire raged on for close to 4 hours and required 31 fire trucks to completely extinguish the fire. 12 persons were reported injured in the fire, including several firemen and staff of the Tsuklakang. After the fire was doused, a committee from the Chinese Central Government State Administration of Cultural Heritage, which looks after the protection of cultural relics of national importance, has visited the site to ascertain the damage. The financial loss of the damage, as estimated by the committee, is reported to be somewhere around 30 to 50 billion in Chinese yuan. Following the update of information on the fire, CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye expressed his deep concern over the tragic incident. He called for a transparent verification of the fire and the damage caused to the Jokhang, a World Heritage Site recognized by UNESCO. He also condemned China's adoption of a strict censorship of information following the fire. On Wednesday last week, the Tibet Museum of Department of Information and International Relations of Central Tibetan Administration launched a crowdfunding campaign for the new Tibet Museum project. This is the first online crowdfunding initiated by the CTA office. The crowdfunding campaign will be live for 50 days, during which anyone around the world can contribute online. The campaign is on keto.org, a crowdfunding platform based in India. The goal of crowdfunding is not just to raise funds for the new Tibet Museum project, but also to raise awareness about one of the biggest projects undertaken by CTA. Besides preserving the cultural heritage, the new Tibet Museum will tell the uncensored story of Tibet to the world, and it will be a center of learning for scholars and researchers around the world. A 3-minute fundraising video has been released for an appeal to the public for their contribution.
I'm standing in front of the new project under construction, the Tibet Museum.
The construction and planning for the new Tibet Museum in Gangjeong-Kishong, the seat of Central Tibetan Administration, is underway. The new Tibet Museum will cover 9,000 square feet of exhibition and learning center space.
With the new Tibet Museum, we aspire to foster a global community.
It's so important to have so many different people from a diverse amount of backgrounds here, because museum work doesn't happen in a vacuum.
But really, of course, this is a people's history museum. This is about a people's history who have not had a chance to tell their own side of the story.
The new Tibet Museum will essentially tell the story of Tibet, that of an illustrious past as an independent country, that also of an atrocious past of occupation, present repression, a contemporary story of resistance and resilience, and a future that is premised on hope.
Hence, this project is very, very important. This is one of the biggest projects Tibetan administration has launched.
I would appeal and urge everyone, both Tibetans as well as our friends in the international community, to support this project.
Donate and be a part of the making of the new Tibet Museum.
Donate and be a part of remembering Tibet's past, strengthening its present, and securing its future.
And we have already raised more than 50% of the fund. And we will welcome and thank anyone who wants to contribute towards this project. Thank you.
so much for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.